books for the library. So every year we do this procurement drive where it takes us a couple of months to figure out what are the new books that we want to add to the collection. The starting place for that is inviting suggestions from the children or the audience of the library itself. So we encourage children to tell us what are the kind of books they like reading and would like to have more of, and also try to understand that which are these books which are not in the collection right now, but they would like to have it. So for example, last year we had a lot of requests to add books on Indian mythology, which is what we kind of went about procuring this year. So once we have that broad idea that okay, these are the gaps or these are the requests that are there for the library, then we reach out to our partner publishers and to local bookstores that we're partnering with, and we go through the kind of offerings that they have, make the selections, procure these books. All of these books are then shipped to our office where we kind of catalog them, and then they're shelved in Spiti. However, when it's about selecting a book for a child who is coming to the library, as a library educator, the very first thing that I do is just let the child be for a while. A lot of it is about observing the child and then kind of figuring out what kind of interaction would the child be most comfortable with. So for example, if I see a quiet child who's walking into the library, I try not to overwhelm them by asking too many questions or by trying to talk to them. I just try to let them be, and when I feel like they're slightly more settled in the space, then I might start like a small conversation with them to see, to get a sense of what kind of books that they might like. If there's a child who is like more kind of energetic and coming to the library, sometimes children will come and want to browse the books themselves, so we let them do that as well. When I'm reading out something to a group of children, then I select those books which have personally moved me. So I feel like children are very intuitive like that, so they're able to tell if you're actually recommending something or reading out something that you have truly enjoyed or not, and I feel like that kind of rubs off on the entire interaction. So typically when I'm trying to read a book to a group of children, I pick up something that I like, but obviously it's also about whether it's meant for that age group or not, and just like an experience or like an understanding of whether the group might enjoy it or not. So yeah, it's kind of a very kind of customized thing depending on what's the objective of selecting that book. And of course it's a lot about like trial and error. It's not like every book I pick children are going to love it, but it's important to understand that it's a process. So if they don't enjoy something, I typically ask them that, okay, what is it that you maybe didn't really like so much, or and then kind of customize the recommendations again. So there are a couple of things that I keep in mind when I'm reading to a group of children. The first thing is just how we are sitting. So what I have found is that for me, the most comfortable or the most effective way to put together a group is we typically do floor seating at the library. So and all of us we sit in a circle. Usually these groups are like under 20 children at a time, so it's pretty manageable. So all of us sit together in a circle, and for me personally, I think it works really well. But also I feel like there's a certain energy that gets created when you're sitting in a group like that. The other thing which I try to make sure of is I try to make sure that the room is as quiet as we can manage for it to be, because if there's a lot of noise in the room, or if there's a lot of distraction or a lot of movement, it does cause disruptions, and it does kind of get children's attentions wavering. So that's the other thing. I also like to open the book, open the reading with an introduction to the book. The introduction obviously talks a little bit about the book itself. I'll talk about the author and the illustrator, but also I like to share how the book moved me, or what is it that I felt when I read the book, without giving away too much of the story. I feel like it just kind of creates that personal connect with the reader, with the listener, because then they know that this is something that has kind of moved you, and so I feel like it becomes like a more of a personal sort of an interaction. So while there's this entire sort of an obvious understanding that library is a place where you can learn how to read, where you can get exposed to different perspectives through books, where you learn a lot, but the way I see a library space is also as like a safe space for children, like, and not just like a physically safe space, but an emotionally safe space for children, where a child feels like it's okay if I don't want to read, but it's a space where I can just go and sit in, or if I'm having a bad day, there'll be somebody there who's going to make me feel like I'm in a place where I don't have to be worried about how to conduct myself, or I don't have to be in the best of shape on that particular day to go to the library. If I want, I can just go sit in a corner. So that is why I think like the library space is important for children. It is about books, but it is also about so much more than that. I've had children dropping in who just would sit down, and at some point in time they want to talk to you about the day, at some times, like they just come and lie down. I've had children who just lie on the floor and be like daydreaming. So I feel like we're not just offering books, but it's about an experience. It's about the assurance that they'll be treated with kindness, and they'll be treated with respect, which is so important for like all of us, I think.